This is West African Voice Network.
Hello and welcome to Newswave on West African Voice Network. I'm Sangdanan Mendy, bringing you the latest headlines from across the sub-region and beyond. Let's get straight into the details. We begin with a major economic development that could have far-reaching consequences for the continent. The US government has imposed tariffs on 180 countries, with all 50 African nations affected. Tariff rates range from 10% to 50%, impacting economics already struggling with poverty, debt, and health crises. Among the hardest hit is South Africa, Africa's largest exporter to the US, now facing a 25% tariff on vehicles and spare parts. This move threatens its $2 billion automotive industry. Meanwhile, Lesotho faces the highest tariff at 50% due to its 99% levy on US imports. These measures are part of the Trump administration's broader protectionist policies, which also include cuts to US aid and the dismantling of US aid, signaling a shift in US-Africa relations. Experts warn that retaliatory actions could worsen inflation in Africa, as many nations rely heavily on imports. However, regional economists suggest that instead of engaging in a trade war, Africa should explore alternative markets, particularly in Asia, where trade restrictions are less stringent. Staying with trade and diplomacy, the United States ambassador to Ghana, Virginia Palmer, has reaffirmed Ghana's status as a key ally of the US despite recent shift in international trade policies. Her remarks follows President Trump's executive order imposing sweeping tariffs on several exporting nations, including Ghana, which now faces a 10% levy on exports to American market. The decision has sparked concerns over its potential impact on US-Ghana trade relations and the broader global economy. In her first media engagement since the US political transition, Ambassador Palmer reassured that Ghana's strategic importance remains unchanged, highlighting the deep-rooted historical, cultural, and economic ties between the two nations. She emphasized that despite the trade adjustments, bilateral trade relations, currently valued at approximately $3 billion, will continue to thrive. Analysts suggest that while the new tariffs may pose challenges for Ghana exporters, diplomatic efforts could help to mitigate economic disruptions and sustain cooperation in key sectors such as energy, agriculture, and technology. The Ghanaian government has yet to issue an official response to the tariff. Moving to political developments in Côte d'Ivoire, the opposition party of Africa People, Côte d'Ivoire PPACI, has called for the dissolution of the country's electoral commission, citing alleged irregularities in the provisional electoral list ahead of the upcoming elections. Speaking during a forum on electoral disputes and irregularities, Katinan Koun, president of the party's Strategic and Political Council, argued that reforming the commission is crucial to ensuring a credible and transparent electoral process. He warned that a failure to address this concern could threaten social peace and democratic stability in the country. The demand by the opposition adds further tensions to an already highly charged political climate as Côte d'Ivoire prepares for its next elections. The ruling government has yet to officially respond to the opposition's demands, but governance experts suggest this issue is likely to remain a key point of contention as election preparations continue. Over in Guinea, political tensions are rising as leading civil society coalition Forces Vives has rejected the transitional government's proposed September 21 constitutional referendum, citing concerns over transparency and inclusivity. Authorities argue that the referendum will give citizens the opportunity to decide on a new constitution, a crucial step in the country's transition back to civilian rule. However, Force Vivis, a coalition of opposition parties, trade unions and civil society groups strongly opposed the vote, accusing the government of failing to engage key stakeholders in the process. Critics insist that the referendum lacks proper consultations and an electoral timetable, raising fears that it could undermine democratic credibility. Some members have also expressed concerns that the transitional authorities are rushing the process without addressing electoral reforms and governance issues. With the rejection of the referendum date, political tensions in Guinea continue to mount. Authorities have yet to respond to Force Vivis' demands, but governance experts warn that the lack of consensus could lead to further instability. And finally, a moment of celebration in Senegal as the country marks its 65th anniversary of independence today. The capital, Dakar, hosts a grand civil and military parade showcasing the nation's history, unity, and achievements since gaining independence in 1960. This year's commemoration holds special significance as it is the first for President Bassirou Diomaye Faye. The event has attracted several heads of state from the West African region, including Gambian President Adama Barrow, further solidifying regional ties. On the eve of the Independence Day celebration, President Diomaye Faye addressed the nation, reflecting on Senegal's progress and outlining his vision for the future. He called on citizens to work together towards a strong, more prosperous nation. And that's it for today's edition of Newswave on West African Voice Network. For more updates from across the region and beyond, visit wavn.org. Stay connected with us on X, Instagram, and Facebook at WAVN News and on TikTok and YouTube at West African Voice Network. I'm Sangdamal Mendy. Thanks for tuning in.